Hey yo, what up though? It's your boy Brad B-Rad Butler II, and welcome to another edition of Lit Motivation, hashtag Litmo. Okay, so today's topic is the long game, right? The long game. You know, it is basketball season, so it's only fitting that we talk about the long game. So, by the long game, what I'm talking about is not thinking short term, but thinking long term. So let me just give you an example, right? Everybody loves Steph Curry right now. They love Steph Curry because he's shooting the three from everywhere on the court. I mean, my man would come down the court and bust a three open from the logo in the half court, right? Because he's trained for it. And when people saw him in the beginning, when he first came into the league, or even back when he was in college, they were like, yo, he's frail, he's not athletic enough, he's not a good enough point guard, he's not ready to be in the pros. Like, he's not ready. He's not ready to be out there with the pros and the pace of the game. He's just not ready for it. He's not gonna last. Even if he does make it to the league, he ain't gonna last, right? But the thing is, Steph Curry had this idea already in his mind. He said, I'm not playing the short game, I'm playing the long game, right? So he said, I'm gonna shoot threes, right? And I'm gonna get my jumper right, all right? And I'm gonna rely on my speed and my quickness to get me where I need to be and use that as my advantage on the court. Because by doing that, what it will do is it will preserve my body, right? It'll preserve my body and I'll be able to last that much longer in the league. And last time I checked, a three-pointer, well, that's more points than a layup or a dunk, right? So if I'm shooting threes at a high volume, then I'm gonna put more points up on the board, right? So I'm playing the long game, right? Now what I'm saying is, I need you to play the long game as it pertains to you and your life and your business and your family and your marriage and all the things that are important to you in your life. Now, what are you doing right now that's preserving your body, preserving your mind, preserving your spirit for the long game, so that you can make it, so you can last all the way through, so that when troubles and trials and tribulation and all these different things come your way and all forms of adversity start to hit you, you're like, I already know what to do because I've been playing the long game, right? So I'm ready for whatever. Now, if you want to use the opposite of what someone like Steph Curry is doing, you have someone on the other side, which is Shaq. Shaq is somebody like, he's just dominant in his field where he was in his prime. He was dominant as far as being a center, being in the post. They're polar opposites of each other, right? Being a center and being in the post and constantly backing defenders down and getting the layups and getting the dunks. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was his game, right? His game was that. But in turn, yes, he was a champion. Yes, he has many rings, all that. And it's great because he did what he was built to do, right? So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, he ended up with a situation where his body started to break down, right? His body started to break down because he was putting so much wear and tear on his body because he was playing the short game. Not taking anything away from him, saying that what he did was not great, because what he did was phenomenal and he's a legend for that. But what I'm saying is, if you want to play the long game, if you are somebody who is perceived to be average at this point and you're trying to become phenomenal, you got to play the long game. You have to play the long game. You have to preserve yourself. You have to make sure that you're working on your craft day in and day out, so that when the tough times come, you are going to last. So it's not just the people who are skilled and talented in their field that they're the ones that last. No, because what happens is, when that adversity strikes and things start to happen, the people who are just talented but have not been working on their craft, they do not last long. They do not last. What happens is, they'll have a stint where they do really, really well. And you're probably even going to think to yourself, if you're playing the long game, yo, this other person is doing so well. They're doing great in their field. Man, like, they're getting all the things that I want out of life and I can't seem to get to it. That's because that person at the time might just be relying on their skills and their talents, and they're playing the short game. They're playing the short game because they're not going to last forever. But if you continue to play the long game and you hone in on your craft and on your skills, and you get a mentor and you consistently work day in and day out on the things that you want, you'll be playing the long game. And what's going to happen is, when those tough times come, you're going to know how to deal with it because you already have a schedule set up. You already have your mindset set in a sense where it's like, yo, I know that eventually at some point the floodgates are going to break if I keep on applying pressure. If I keep on applying pressure on the floodgates, eventually they're going to break and I'm going to get what I'm looking for. Right? So what I'm telling you is, you have to continue to play the long game. You gotta play the long game like Steph Curry. right? Focus on your skills, focus on the areas that you know that you work well in, and you build on that, and you keep just hammering away at that skill set, and you put in the 10,000 hours that you need for you to get the muscle memory that you need to be phenomenal in the areas that you are trying to be great in. And if you do that and you play the long game, you'll have longevity and you'll last long, and you'll have a legacy that'll last a lifetime. Listen, my name is Brad B-Rad Butler II, and I encourage every last one of you to make your next day your best day. And I encourage everybody to like, subscribe, and follow. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.